everybody. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the Frontlines. In the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Lumadonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. Well, this is another Lifeforce update broadcast. We had another meeting today, back to the original time, but my alarm was not. For me, it starts at 4 a.m. and I've had reset my alarm for the previous week because it was delayed 2 hours. And I set two alarms, one an hour before and one at the hour, just in case. And but I didn't reset the alarms from last week, so now when the first alarm went off, it was 5 a.m. and so the meeting was already going on for an hour. By luck, Kim had not come on yet, but she did come on, so I do have that for you, so we'll discuss that. But I don't know what happened the first hour, but I just happened to ask Aunt B, Aunt B, who was on the broadcast, was it yesterday? or 2 days ago. Anyway, so she said that Tank was actually talking about how the number 17 group has been red pilling everybody, and they have basically a plan. And then so Kim came on and was not really happy with being told trust the plan. She, I can feel the frustration coming from Kim on this one, right? Well, she wants to know, well, tell me the plan, and then I'll know if I can trust it or not. It's a very valid point, right? What's the plan? Well, trust us. It's a good one. Well, that's an interesting point as we were discussing the plan, but Kim also discussed the Operation Looking Glass, which is the topic of our conversation from a few days ago when we talked about Tesla, and we had Wits Ministries on, and we were talking about this general idea that my idea is the plan ultimately was Tesla's plan, and then it's been carried on by white hats, which include John Trump, which includes now Donald Trump. So that's the plan I think that we're dealing with. I'm sure there's plans within plans, and there's other people that think that they're working on one plan, but they're actually on the other plan. It's because a lot of this is clandestine, and of course, the deep state plan is not a good plan, right? Their plan was, okay, eliminate, 90% of the population of the planet. That's their plan. Start again, but this time they own everything from the beginning, and let's see how that turns out. Well, their plan also includes Luciferian worship and death culture and all that. Nah, don't want to do that. Of course, Kim has her plan, which is the restoration plan, which is all the plan that we want to basically have happen. We want the restoration to happen. So now there's obviously, I think, an overlap with Kim's plan and what I believe is Tesla's plan. Now it could be the number 17 plan, Plan 17, from the 17th letter of the alphabet, and we're seeing how it unfolds now. For the purpose of the number 17 plan, though, the objective of the number 17 posts has a mission to have people wake up, red pill, and I do think they're accomplishing that. This particular does not maybe help to reveal all of the details of the plan, so I can understand why Kim may want to know what the plan is, and maybe they should tell her the plan on that side. And I would be I would suspect then, this it would be much made clear. But from what we can tell, that plan is the number 17 plan. I could expect that number 17 may just disappear after the beginning of the new Trump administration after the term, because it may have just been a purpose of getting people awake and starting doing their all alternative media, because there has to be new media to step into the front lines, right? They have to step out front. OAN, for example, right? They're already up front. They're in the press briefings at the White House. They are producing, news shows, and I'm enjoying them. Little 5, 7, 9 minute pieces, probably some longer ones, but and they're telling a particular short story about this, and I think that's they're doing excellent. So United News Network, United News Channel is having their own app. It should be ready. Kim did say that. So we should see how that is going to unfold. But the number 17 post started with arrests of HRC, Hillary, right? And within the first couple of days, talked about a whole bunch of things, started including arrests for, Panetta on it was basically, says arrest warrant issued on the 3rd, actionable on the 4th, so the 4th of November. And they talked about that back in October of 2017. And now all of those first posts seem to be what's happening now. That's why I think that number 17 could just disappear after this starts, after it's completed its goal of waking up people, red pilling everybody. I do not know if they'll disappear. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I really don't want it to happen. I think it's a good back channel, and I don't think in any way the war is over after November 4th. I think this is when the craziness really gets in hand, because they have no choice. All out at that point. Oh, hello. Someone crawling up on the side of the chair here. Say hello. Said, meow. This is the brother to the one that passed away. So I could say he's an only child now, but number one, he's not a child, but an only kitten. But his aunt has 4 kittens that are about a month older to him. So they hang out quite a lot. So basically on that note, it reminds me, we need cat food. We're all out of cat food. Your donations are much appreciated. My PayPal link is down below. This is something was like, oh no, we're out of cat food. What now? So I actually gave them a mixture of the leftovers I had yesterday with some rice, and mixed that in. Cats are pretty finicky. Some of the kittens ate it, the others did not. But please, if you can contribute, it will be going for cat food as well as other food. That would be much appreciated. Again, if you need to use a Western Union or MoneyGram, please contact me by way of my email down below, or better yet, Telegram, which I get, it comes through right away. And we can also talk on Telegram. So he's deciding to camp out on my lap, and he's sitting there. So, okay, so I'm going to stop with the intermission. Back to the discussion of this plan. So, as I said, so it looks like that this number 17 posting system has been interwoven with events that link up with one another on dates. Sometimes they're basically 1 year apart, 2 years apart, and now 3 years apart to the date, to the hour, to the minute, to when something is about to happen. And so it mentions something, and then you go and look back on that 1 year before and 2 years before, and there's kind of a storyline that's forming there. It's very interesting how it's interwoven together, backwards and forwards. So that is very intricate. Artificial intelligence, predictive programs, predictive algorithms that are basically allowing things to happen, and possibly also Project Looking Glass, which John Trump obviously worked on. I actually did, we did discuss that with WITS Ministries, and said that John Trump did work on this prior to Tesla dying. So there was a relationship that existed prior. So it's very, very intricate how this was all woven together. So the plan has many phases. The number 17 plan, has its goal, which is the waking up the people, getting people to research, dig in, and do things. But there's the alternative media spin out from there, the spin-offs that are coming. I mean, the other one, Bards of War, has an excellent series going on right now, putting out about one episode every day. It's this 8-part series telling you how to deal with this situation. Started like the first one was, well, build a base, make your home a home base, make sure that you're secure. Firearms, generators, food for 90 days, right? And then each episode it goes through and talks about different things. So today it was more about the last one was about not put him down. So he was getting anxious. I think he's looking for his mother. That's what's going on. And she's out, so I put her out so that she wouldn't be talking. Now he's talking. He was, the Bards of War was discussing how we need to speak up and not be silent. Right? There's no time for being silent. It's not no more silent majority. We have to speak up. Today it was about taking our faith not into the churches, but taking it to the streets, praying in the public square, being heard and seen, insisting when a school board meeting starts, a prayer is said. When any government event is going on, insist that a prayer started, as it always was. So the elimination of this over time has been gradual. To remove it from the schools, removing prayer from everywhere, except in the churches. Now they've silenced the churches. This is truly, the end times as programmed into all of the literature, all of the, including the Bible, and also the movies. So we're seeing this unfold, right? So the plan has many phases, and so we need to realize that, where part of that is waking us up, then having us do our own media, giving us a voice, and listening to those that we need to bring together so that we have a good group. I guess there's over 1,000 people in Lifeforce. We get a very good amount of people joining the assemblies. Sandra RN from the California Assembly made an announcement today. It was an excellent announcement. So they, now I don't have that as part of the recording, but so I did not record that part. But she basically said that on September 11th, we're going to meet at every state's Capitol building for all the assemblies, as basically a show of force, of life force, to show up and be heard. And so this is an excellent plan. So this is not far away. Right, this is what, a week from now? This is the 7th, less than a week. So 4 days, 5 days from now, this is what's going to be happening. So get onto one of the assemblies and then plan on being at the state capitol on the 11th of each of these states. And get some other people organized to all go, show up, that you can chat right there in the Lifeforce group. Okay, so I think that's a good enough to cover a few things. So we're going to do two things. We're going to go into the Lifeforce and talk about what's there. And then I'm going to show you a video about a particular new problem with the food supply that gentleman is alerting us to. So I sent this video clip. It was sent to me, and I sent it on over to Tank. And so this is, I think, is being investigated. But I think that we should at least hear and be aware, because even if we take the precautions now, it doesn't hurt if it's not true, which is really just to overcook your food, making sure that you kill any possibility of there being some bacteria added to it. So anyway, we'll cover that as well. So first, let's get to the Lifeforce meeting. So let me switch over. Okay.
Last week. We were expecting our announcements on the student loans and on machines, all of these other things. The issue that we had was obviously we didn't have announcements we were looking for, and when we questioned them, and their response was trust the plan. So, not really sure what plan it is. When we asked what's the plan, they had no answer. So I don't know if they know what the plan is, but there's a plan. Somebody has one, and we're all supposed to trust it. So we'll get into that in just a few minutes. Okay, so they're calling, still been calling about money. They're trying to pass the stimulus bill, and we're trying to push through our funds in 2 other countries and also in organ banks. We now have several things at play, and we're waiting for answers on those. Hopefully on Monday and Tuesday. There's only a holiday here in the United States. It's not a holiday everywhere else, so hopefully we'll have that answer soon. Now to go back to what Tank was discussing earlier. A lot of these projects started with Project Looking Glass and another project called Project Paperclip. Project Looking Glass is a technology that was afforded to the Society in the Black Sun, designed to give them a peek into. It was given to them by a third-party entity, and they had been using it for a while. They have certain scenarios that were seen in Project Looking Glass, and they're called referred to in the alternative media as the timelines or the potential plans. So what they saw was not necessarily certain dates or anything like that. What they were actually seeing was a sequence of events that would take place in order to achieve the end objective at the end of that specific timeline. You've heard people talk about the negative timeline, positive timeline, and there are several variations of each one. So they have learned that if they can adjust these events, or think that if they could adjust these events to fit one of these scenarios, which is their ultimate outcome, that they will be successful with the end result, which is them basically taking over the whole world. They have afforded themselves something called the Adjustment Bureau. That's what I call them, because they run around basically making adjustments all the time, trying to help a certain person become a head of state, or staging a pandemic. There's another one of those in store for us what I understand, I did some checking into some things that was said by our team, and they want to make those adjustments so that the ultimate end goal takes place. So Project Paperclip was all a part of this, where they brought in the scientists from Project Paperclip, which were the scientists that were working during the Holocaust and in the other camps. I honestly feel like we are in a Holocaust at this moment in time, with all the experimenting that's going on. So with Project Paperclip, all of these German scientists that were working formerly in Germany for the same people have now relocated to the United States and have been working in the United States. One of the base families, if you were to trace back in a family tree, one thing we discovered last week was a Von Keith family. And the Von Keith family is a very old family name, goes back a couple thousand years, but it all ties to the same group of people. And there are many different names like your turfs, which are now bushes, and a lot of other names that you'll recognize when you see it. So we've been doing a little bit of research into this, and this goes back to one of the original fights that were discussed in the past between the Rus, where you had the white sun and the black sun, and they would fight against each other. The Von Keiths, or Von Kefs, or Keiths, which is the original name, where the original name of capital city of Ukraine comes from, is Kiev. It also comes from the same last name. So that gives you a general idea of the origin of the black sun. So now it's no longer just from this particular area. It goes all the way back to the time of Solomon, and a lot of different interesting twists and turns along the way, but they also have a plan. So we're not really sure what plan anyone is following. The only thing I can tell you is that in our research, we discovered that Trump had an uncle who was part of this program when he came over from Germany. So you can look that up. It's John, this guy's name, not his original last name, but he was took a part in this original program. So I just thought you'd find that interesting. So we're still trying to find out what plan it is everybody's following, and there appears to be more than one. I can tell you from our standpoint, we are following the restoration plan, which is a plan that I know very well because I wrote it. So it's been accepted with a couple of little caveats from a few other people and some of the others that live here. So we're excited for Lifeforce because that is an intricate part, as Tank stated earlier, of the restoration plan. So I was not on last weekend's call because I was having long conversations with, I would say, about the fourth in charge of the Black Sun, called asking me all kinds of questions last week. So when it came to light on several different conversations about what is the plan, what is going on with Project Paperclip, how CODIS is involved, with the distribution of this virus, why they would patent the virus, Jim has put very eloquently last week and this week. Why would they put it, it's registered in England when it was created here in the United States, and what is coming next? So several members of Lifeforce have contacted this week about a potential pathogen called food distribution, not only here in the United States, but also in other countries. The answer to the question is it is tied to this potential Scorpio virus or scorpion virus that they talk about. They are trying to implement this program where they're putting this with all our food, our vegetables, frozen, specified freezing apparently. So until we can find out exactly what the pathogen is, I was told that it prohibits cellular regeneration, weakens the immune system, and severely affects the liver and the pancreas. So I'm trying to find out the exact pathogen and what we can actually do about it and try to see where it's coming from. I just got this information over this morning, so we'll do the best we can to keep you informed. But until then, please make sure that you wash and cook all of your food very well until we can find the answer, the solution, where it's coming from. Although we already know where it's coming from, it's a part of the Project Paperclip family, now known as CODIS. They're in Virginia. So we just tried to find out distribution points, launching points, what their plan is. Okay, so my conversation last week with the Black Sun was almost 4 hours. They happened to call on Sunday. They asked a lot of questions about these potential, I call them papas and mamas and grandpas, different Asian people, the elderly, grandfathers and whatnot. And I explained to them what had happened. I explained to them how this all came to be. They asked lots of questions about Black Sun and why is that come origin, and who are these others, what the programs are, because a lot of them don't actually know. So after that happened, we got lots of that was when I learned about the tie to family and Project Paperclip. Now, we're not saying that Trump is involved. We don't even know what plan it is everybody's talking about. We just know that that is a plan, and it is being discussed. No one's giving us an answer as to what trust the plan means at this moment. And gave another variation, which is very similar to this other plan. So I'm not sure. We're not sure at this moment, so we're still doing some research and trying to find out what the plan is, which I hope Tom will get an answer on his call, since, of course, they're only calling about money. So as soon as we get ours, you'll get yours, because obviously we can't even trust you to stand on television and say 4 lines. I have a deep concern about this, because why are they not announcing about the machines? Why are they not announcing about student loan payoffs? Why are they not announcing any of these things on television? They should have. It would have been great for the election. They kept pushing us off every day with something new. After the RNC, after this, after that, but we've got nothing. So, which concerns me about what plan it is everybody has going on. So, that I'm supposed to be trusting here. We're all supposed to be trusting. But we have our own plans, and we're all going to be moving forward on our own. We don't need those people. They can choose to stay. They can choose to go. That is their choice. They can trust their own plan. We're going to trust ourselves to go forward. So there is the story about where I was last week. We did have a number of defectors or potential defectors from the Black Sun once they found out what's really going on. So that may or may not be good. We're running a couple of things right now together to see how that goes, if they can be trusted, see if they have our mutual best interests at heart as humans. So we'll see what that. So for this week, we have one of the banks, JP Morgan Chase, said they're going to come on board. We'll see what they do. We did leave those funds there. So we can get them cleared. As soon as they are cleared, the White House will get their money, not a minute before, and we do have to spend $1. So if we can, it's great that the money is in our account, but we need to be able to go down and spend some of the money on things that we want. We are arguing a little bit about the restrictions, different things that they're trying to do, trying to put in place, but hopefully we can work it out. We'll know on Tuesday. They were supposed to finish this on Saturday. Turns out they got a little bit confused as they tried to use the codes, the clearing codes that I gave them to deposit the money into other people's accounts, tried to divert the funds to other locations, tried to only clear part of the funds. So hopefully they're less confused now, with a couple of days off, a little bit of rest, and maybe they'll come back on Tuesday with another idea. So that'd be great. In the other 2 countries, we have, there's a little bit of political issues in one that we're trying to work through. I've also gotten calls earlier today from another couple of countries that are hearing about the potential of clearing deposits. So that's where that is at this week. Still working on the banking app. We are finished with the app for UNC. We're just changing up the logo so it's a little easier to see.
Wait, Kim, I'm sorry. Can I clarify before you go right now that there is an option on the table for the U.S. government that is what with President Trump, who has openly stated repeatedly he's taking down the pharmaceutical companies. He's got all these people. He's for the people. We've got the scourge of humanity, the world's worst cold virus, which wiped out 9,721 people in total after they said it was going to be millions here in the U.S.
How many people did it? Can you reiterate that one more time, Peg? How many people in the U.S.?
It was only 9,721. After
of those people, how many were under the age of, like, say, 75, 80?
A majority of them, I think, was 70% were over 78 years old. They were, and they were ailing from various symptoms, most of which caused by a concomitant usage of multiple pharmaceuticals that were probably already making their bodies toxic. So you have this, and then you have everyone walking around wearing these masks, which masks also, for the record, is something that's been used as a way to put people in subjection to certain things, right? Slavery, even. To subject women to, say, you know.
Let's pause for a moment, because it kind of like leaves behind a couple of things that Kim said. So I want to kind of go over. And so one is the plan, trust the plan. And I get, not wanting to trust the plan. We have a plan, the restoration plan. That is the plan. We know that's the plan we're moving forward on. I do have extreme high hopes that the plan that we've been talking about, the number 17 plan, the Tesla plan to save the world, what I called it, is the plan that they're on. And I see it that way. Not to say that there aren't other plans that were out there that were from the cabal side. May even people think that they're on one plan or on the other. So I think that this is the plan. As long as we're all going in the same direction, that's great, right? So I think we just have to keep an eye out, make sure that we're not going down the wrong way. Okay. The other things of interest is that there is money in. I guess she said that was a Chase. I think she said it was at J.P. Morgan, or that same thing, J.P. Morgan, Chase. So that there's money sitting there, and they're waiting for the fees to get paid out, and that there were talks with some people in Black Sun groups, probably different factions that didn't know all the whole story. She revealed things, and now she's running some programs with them to see if maybe they can come on board and things can happen. So we can see that there is things are lining up, and everybody is very frustrated. I know people who are really need to have the money now. I need to have the money now. We all need to have the money now. So it's very it is frustrating for Kim. She needs to have the money now. We all want to move forward, and it's and we get frustrated with these stupid people that have been sitting in power places and causing this kind of a problem, right? So I think we have to say this: keep moving, keep doing what we're doing, taking one step, being aware, hypercritical of things that are coming up, analyzing these things, what's happening. So, for example, this new problem with a bacteria that's going to be supposedly has already been placed into the food supply, and that it has, and you should be overcooking. Now we will go over that. I do have that video. It's set up and it's ready, and we'll go over it. Again, verification is another story. Whether this is so we have to but as I said, it's not going to hurt us to do what the suggestion is, which is overcook our food. to make sure that anything that would have been in there, yes, it's going to affect the nutrition, but anything that might be potentially harmful can be neutralized. It doesn't hurt also to cook with alcohol. have some vodka or some good brandy on side to add to it, wine, even higher content, and mix that in. That might be helpful. Adds great flavor. A good bourbon, yeah. So there's some techniques you can do. So, okay, so let's see how much time. So we're at 40 minutes. Why don't I go ahead? I'll bring that up now because I got most of everything in here. So. This is a 12-minute clip. Probably only go about halfway through.
All right, let's make sure we've got a signal here. This is Joe and Brianna, the Fullerton Informer, coming to you live. This is Thursday, September 3rd, 2020. I've got an urgent warning. It has to do with our food supply, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to be very brief here, folks. There is going to be an outbreak of what is known as brucellosis. It is a bacteria foodborne illness, and it's going to be put into frozen foods, and it's going to start out very slowly, probably at the middle of the country, like an area like Chicago or somewhere in the Midwest. And the symptoms of brucella poisoning, brucellosis in humans, are the identical symptoms of what they're claiming COVID does. What's of deep concern to me is the presentation of autoimmune hemolytic anemia as a result of an infection with this gram-negative bacteria. Folks, they are going to pull all the stops out to try to get us to believe in this fake virus so they can do everything they want with us and to us. I'm warning you right now, this is a very simple solution. This has been animals, milk, cheese, thing that's very common. Here's the deal. Brucellosis is an extremely dangerous bacterial infection, and it can be released in the food supply. They can also spray it on us. All right? You need to do your homework on the symptoms of brucellosis and the Brucella bacteria. I have some advice for you, folks. Cook your meat. Do not drink or buy or consume any unpasteurized dairy products. And if you're going to consume any frozen foods, you better cook the crap out of them, okay? This stuff, the spiked food, is going to start hitting the shelves this weekend. Their plan is to blame the back to school and the Labor Day travels on a spike in COVID. Folks, they are going to do everything they can to induce illness in us. They've had a bunch of opportunities to do different things, okay? The 5G systems aren't in the homes yet, so they can't get us that way. The classrooms have been weaponized with the air conditioning upgrades and the millimeter wave chips and the Wi-Fi access points. The mosquitoes are being released, but they haven't spiked them with the malaria yet. They're going to go for the food supply, folks, and what they're going to do is they're going to spike the food supply with Brucella, okay? Brucella bacteria, gram-negative bacteria. It gives the same types of symptoms as COVID. Look up the symptom. I want to pay attention to the one of the very scary things about Brucella infections in young people is it can induce autoimmune hemolytic anemia. And hemolytic anemia is when your body cannot make blood cells faster than they're being destroyed. So you cannot make enough red blood cells to bind your fever, chills, fatigue. They're going to blame on COVID, folks. It's not COVID. COVID's fake. It's not real. What's real is the stuff they're going to put in the food. What is real is the electromagnetic weaponry that they're going to have you turn on in your house. Folks, do not eat any unpasteurized cheeses. Do not drink any unpasteurized dairy products. And if you're going to buy any frozen food from today forward, because it could already be on the shelves, cook the crap out of your food. Do not undercook your meat. Do not undercook your eggs. Do not undercook your anything from the store, any frozen foods. And to be honest with you, folks, it's the frozen foods that are the most suspect and most likely to be spiked. Brucella can survive freezing, and they have already put it in the food supply, folks. I'm warning you. This is what they're up to. This is their next move. They're going to induce illness with a foodborne pathogen called Brucella. And the symptoms of brucellosis in humans are the bagging and tagging, the fake death certificate entries are all getting us ready to, in all of the system, getting the system ready to deal with an outbreak of some sort. And the brucellosis that's coming for Labor Day weekend, it's going to affect young people. That's what's really scary about this. It can really affect young people. And one of the symptoms of the brucellosis onset in a young person.
Well, let's stop there for a moment. So, if you recall, right, they were saying that this next pandemic was going to affect the children, right, the young people, because the last one didn't, right? It was just the elderly. Now they're going after the young, and they're going to say that it's COVID, just another form. And when you go to get tested, oh, well, the tests are tainted, so it turns up positive, and you have all these symptoms, so, well, you must have COVID. So then they won't test for this bacteria, so they'll be treating you and putting a ventilator down your throat. You won't be able to breathe, and then you pass away in the hospital. So, they had failed at getting us sick. This is one of their major problems. The 5G did not get rolled out. So they didn't have the 5G to hit us with. I'm sure, wherever they did go, and they had it in place, I'm sure more people got sick. Right? They had the reaction, right, from getting hit by those waves. Right? But it didn't get rolled out. Yeah, they have devices out there, but it wasn't fully implemented. So it got stopped way in the beginning. So now, since they failed at getting us sick, right, this next something that they had to do, they're spiking the food. A pathogen that goes from, as we've seen in the movies, programmed in the movies, what happens in the movies is that it spreads quickly, right? Yeah, it goes from one person to the next and next. And like you just touch someone, and you're in the same room with someone, and that spreads, and that spreads, and that spreads. It doesn't happen that way. It's very difficult for these pathogens to spread very quickly. That's why COVID was important, and they got it into the test kits. That's why I said the president of Zambia had tested a pawpaw fruit and a goat, and the pawpaw fruit and the goat also tested positive for COVID. It's just from the test. The tests were rigged to show positive. So they have failed in killing people so far. Now they need bodies, right? And they want the kids to be attacked. So now they want to tell people about it. That's another one of the babies, one of the older ones, looking for a mother. Both of them are outside. They have to try something, right? And this is what it is. So we have to be aware, scrutinize. He might have false information, right? But it's easy for us to listen and overcook our foods. Not to be frightened about it, but take action. Overcook, especially if you bought frozen foods or meats and everything, overcook. Slow cookers are wonderful. Pressure cookers, you get a pressure cooker. Roast it, over roast it, slow roast it, makes it taste better. So these things can be done. Now, all right, we'll go ahead and finish this up. It's got another 7 minutes.
It can induce what's called hemolytic anemia, and it just so happens that chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine also can induce hemolytic anemia. And once again, hemolytic anemia is a syndrome by which your body can't make red blood cells faster than it's recycling them. Your body recycles red blood cells, just like your alcoholic neighbor recycles his beer cans. The cans go to the processing plant, they melt them down, they make new fresh cans. Your body uses old red blood cells, breaks them down to make new ones. Hemolytic anemia is a disruption of that process. Hydroxychloroquine disrupts that process. Hydroxychloroquine is not a solution to anything, folks. Hydroxychloroquine is part of the con, part of the weaponry, part of the scam to get your red blood cell count down. So,
and this is why I was stopping there earlier, just before he gets to this part, because now here's the is this a counter narrative being played out, right? Something to get us away from using the HCQ. The hydroxy is one of those things that may be one of the ways we need to fight this, right? That's what we've been on board with, right, so far. Now he's saying the opposite. So was the point of this whole thing to tell us that don't use HCQ? Or is he being serious that this was just part of the plot and that, you know, it was just part of the gameplay, the part of the narrative twists in the storyline, right? So it could be, right? But I have a tendency to believe that wherever there was malaria present in the world, and this medicine was used ritualistically and on the shelf, not was an over-the-counter medicine available next to aspirin in all of these countries, wherever this was given out easily and people were on maintaining dose of one pill every couple weeks or whatever it was, just to stop, in case they get bit by a mosquito, it would stop them from catching malaria. But there were no cases of COVID in those countries. So that seems to be pretty strong, right? That it's certain. But he may have heard something else. He may have just, it may be a purposeful mixed message to get people away from HCQ. But all right, we'll continue, but just keep an open mind about it.
5G millimeter wave oxygen depriving frequencies will have a greater effect on your ability to breathe. And if you pick up brucellosis, if you have a brucella infection, one of the symptoms is shortness of breath. You won't be able to breathe because it can induce hemolytic anemia. You have to look up how you treat brucellosis on your own. You need to understand what brucellosis is. You need to tell everybody you know to cook all their meat thoroughly, not to buy any unpasteurized dairy products, and beware of all frozen foods that are now hitting the shelves. It may already be on the shelves. If it's not in your freezer already, I wouldn't trust it. If you're on the shelves, especially the foods from the #1 food production company in the world. Keep this very brief. It's in Jesus' name we go. It's in his spirit of truth that we go. I want everybody out there to get this information out to everybody they know, because this is a vital component. If we stay out in front and call them out ahead of what they're going to do, they won't do it, and it won't give them the wind in the sails that they need to keep this agenda going. This whole thing is a fraud, and they've got different ways to con us and to corral us, and no one's talking about this, folks. Everyone's talking about how there's no solutions. Folks, I'm telling you right now, I'm exposing their plans. I'm getting out in front of what they're going to do, telling you how to avoid becoming a victim of it, and I'm taking the wind out of their sails so they can't pull this off. Do you understand me? Brucellosis in the food supply. It's coming. It's already in the food on the trucks headed for the grocery stores. Anything in your freezer right now is probably okay. Anything you buy from this day forward is not. Cook the crap out of your meat. Cook all of your cheeses. Don't eat any raw cheeses. You need to do not eat any dairy products. Cook them. Okay? That's all I'm telling you. And make yourself familiar with the symptoms of brucellosis. Understand the brucella bacteria. If we look back to the 1918 Spanish flu outbreak, it was not a flu virus. It was not a flu, folks. It was a combination of a meningitis component, which is also a gram-negative bacteria, similar to brucellosis, similar to the brucella bacteria. These are the same families. This is all the same family, folks. It's the same sick family of germs that they're pushing on us, that they're calling this fake virus, that they want everybody to take a vaccine for. Folks, they're going to put malaria in the vaccines. They've got the 5G weaponry ready to come in your house eventually. They're going to put these millimeter wave systems turned on in the classrooms. That's why they want the children in the schools. They're going to put them probably in the school lunches. The Brucella infection is going to be in those frozen foods. I'm telling you right now, if you send your children to school, don't trust the food. Pack their own lunch. Do not rely on the government to feed you, ladies and gentlemen. We're already trapped in a system where we rely on their food distribution. We need to take our own destiny into our own hands by cooking our food ourselves. Do not rely on the government to feed your children. Do not rely on the government to educate your children. Do not rely on the government for sustenance. Do not rely on the government for medical advice. They're criminals, liars, and murderers, not necessarily in that order, perhaps in the inverse order. I'm here to give you the truth. I'm here to give you advice on how to stay alive and to stay ahead of this. And in the name of Jesus Christ, we ask in the name of Jesus Christ, Almighty Father, that you bind the works of these demonic scum and freeze them in their tracks, and may they fall into the pit that they have dug for the innocents.
Yes, may that happen. So, one of the other thoughts is maybe he might have been suggesting that the hydroxy was going to be bad if you had this bacteria. Maybe that is not. So if you think that it's COVID and you take the hydroxy and it's actually this bacteria, that may cause a problem. So that would be a perfect way to unseat hydroxy as a way to fix the problems, right? Because people says, "Oh, I'm getting sick from it." So now we have to figure out what the actual way to fix the problem is from this bacteria. How do you get well from this bacteria? That might be a better way to look at it. Okay, so let's not continue that. I'm going to cover one other very interesting point here. I'm going to just line this up. Okay, this I found was interesting.